Well, hello everyone. My name is John Brenneman, president here at MOA Vacations, and today we're joined by Micheal and Guy Rubino with Live Local Today. Going to do it a little bit different today. Normally, I kind of talk a lot about MOA Vacations, but I think everyone who is registered has been to a previous webinar, so I think you're familiar with MOA Vacations. And so we're going to kind of go pretty quickly right in to talk about what Guy and Micheal are doing for MOA groups now. You've obviously seen a little bit of information, but we're going to kind of delve into it a lot deeper and then answer any questions you might have. So if you have your cursor or your whatever, your finger, if you're on like a phone or whatever, and you go kind of to the bottom of the screen, you should see a little menu pop up that's got a couple of, excuse me, I don't see Q&A on here. Well, that's different. Maybe because I'm sharing my screen. Anyway, we'll answer any questions you might have. Before we get going, we wanted to show a video real quick. This is a video we put together after the MOA signature group for Venice and Veneto. We offered the opportunity to do one of these hosted villa vacations. So Micheal and Guy welcomed and hosted 16 MOA members at a private villa. And so this is just some video that they shot, as well as some images to kind of give you an overview of how this trip will work. So we'll see if I can get lucky and get this video to run, and I did not. So give me just 1 second. I'm concerned this was going to be the way this would go. You guys can, Micheal, you guys can see this, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I think you gotta rewind it though. Yeah, I think you're halfway through. You gotta get to the back to the, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Perfect job.
Is it running?
No, yeah, it's not running yet.
Oh, that's weird. Well, this worked when we tested it a minute ago.
Yeah, weird.
Well, why don't we do this?
We can run it at the end if you want to.
Yeah, we can run it at the end. So I'm going to go over it and hand it over to you guys, and you can kind of go through
Sure.
your deck. And worst case scenario, when I probably forgot to mention, we are recording this. So at the conclusion of the webinar, we will send a copy of this webinar to everyone in case you want to share it with your family or friends, or if you want to revisit any of it, we'll make sure we put a link to this YouTube video in that email so you can watch it on your own. But without any further ado, I am going, excuse me, that's not what we wanted to do. Okay, Micheal, I'm going to make you the host so you can share your screen. So take it away.
All right, there we go.
Excellent.
You can see that? Okay, John?
I can see it okay. If you want to go ahead and get it started, we're all ready to roll.
Well, thanks, John. And first of all, let me say thanks to John and his team. We've had a lot of fun working together, and we all share a passion for excellence, travel, and leisure. And we're just thrilled that this relationship is continuing, and we're thankful to be part of it. On that note, since we're fairly new to many of the MOA event members, I think it's kind of important that we sort of just do a brief interview or brief view of who we are. So we're brothers, as you can probably tell. We're you have to guess who's older, but we'll talk about that later. We have a really rich history in hospitality. We have owned multiple fine dining restaurants. We have produced and hosted a television series that aired in over 300 countries worldwide for 4 seasons. We've been aired, our show aired on BBC, it aired on the Food Network in the United States, it aired on Discovery Travel and Living all through Asia, it aired in Europe. Anyways, it was a very wide reach. And as a result of all those shows, we did multiple events worldwide. We did, the grand opening for the 4 seasons in Hong Kong. We were the lead host for the World Gourmet Summit, and it continues. Anyways, without boring you, we've done a lot of stuff in this space. I am a sommelier, which comes in handy on these trips because I know a little bit about wine. And my brother is an executive chef. Guy was one of the first chefs to be invited on Iron Chef America and has done multiple events around the world, of course, and has won awards for fine dining throughout. And so between the two of us, we have the food, the wine, kind of all figured out. So one of the things that's unique to a lot of these trips, a lot of them we do in Italy, although we do some outside of Italy, is that we're from Italy. So my parents were born there. We spent our childhood every summer in Italy, and so we really know the Italian culture. We know the European mindset, and we have experienced it. And what makes it even better for us is that we have family members that are still there that always help us out whenever we need to find something unique and exciting that we want to explore. So I'm going to tell you, Guy's going to tell you what makes us so special.
So I mean, the before we actually go on these trips, what we do is we typically have a Zoom call with everybody who is going, and we get a feel for. We sort of have a bit of an itinerary set, but nothing's written in stone, and we just get a feel for what everybody's looking for. Like for example, in past situations, people have been specific about going to specific destinations that it's on their bucket list. They really want to see it. And so we then take all that information and we incorporate it into the trip. So we're always really wide open. I think the most important thing to remember here is that you're not signing up to like being in camp or something like when you were a kid, where it's from 2 to 4 we're here, from 4 to 6 we're here, blah 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 blah. It's very very much like the Italian sort of culture where we go slowly, we take our time, but generally speaking, we really do try to incorporate what the company is about, and that's sort of like live like an Italian for a week. I find that Michael and I had went on this trip not too long ago where we were in Italy, and we were overwhelmed by the amount of tourists that were there, and yet it was really apparent, especially when we were in the sort of larger cities like Rome, Naples, etc. It was really apparent that we weren't too sure that the people that were coming to Italy were actually experiencing the true culture or the true lifestyle of an Italian. And I think that's really what makes that country really special. Yes, they have beautiful beaches. Yes, they have incredible cuisine. Yes, they have amazing architecture. But a lot of other countries do that too. But I think what truly makes Italy unique is the way the Italians live and the culture that they have. And really, these trips are about sort of tapping into that, so that this makes it a vacation unlike anything you've been. I guarantee that if you take a trip with us to Italy, even though you've been to Italy before, maybe on past trips or drop-ins through cruises or whatever it is, I guarantee you're not going to see this side of Italy that typically goes unnoticed. And that really is the premise of, live local today, meaning like live in the moment, live through the culture. And so that's really essentially what it is, combining with the fact of like sort of taking in some of the requests that people have in terms of what they'd like to see, what they'd like to do. And the unique thing about it is that every time you do go to Italy, every part of what makes it unique is that every different part of Italy has its own culture, its own thing going on, its own cuisine. The food's different, the wine is different, the people are different. In some cases, the weather is different. So it's really about trying to encase all of that through the span of a week. But before we do that, we go and we handpick these villas. And I think that's an important thing to talk about, is that we have a team in Italy. And if Michael and I don't do it, in fact, like as soon as we finished the last trip with the members, when we were there last, Michael and I went on a massive recon mission all the way down to Campania, to the very south of Italy, just before Sicily, and then even into Sicily. And we were on the hunt for next trips and searching out next villas. And because to us, the villa experience is really a big part of these trips because not only are they drop dead gorgeous and beautiful and accommodating and probably, in my opinion, better than any five-star hotel I've ever stayed in. And and we've stayed in a lot of them, especially when we were traveling with our show, is that there's just so much more character in these rooms because you're essentially in an estate. So they're much cooler than any boutique hotel or even Four Seasons or anything like that. So we go out, we vent these villas and make sure they're totally cool. They're totally set up with things to do. For example, if we are doing something that is encompassing the group, if you want to have your own private time, there's going to be, these villas are so massive. You can go on a hike, go for a walk. You can do all kinds of different things. There's always tennis courts. There's always a pool, a massive pool. There's also obviously acres of vineyards and acres of olives and acres of all kinds of agriculture.
Lemon trees,
you name it, fig trees, like just stuff to do. There's even hammocks that you can just go crash on if you want to in the middle of nowhere. So we make sure that, not only when we want the villa to be a fun and sort of group engaging event, it can do that for us, big, long communal tables, all kinds of outdoor massive places to eat and everything. And if you want some exclusivity and you want to hide, then you have that option as well.
Yeah, I think the point being is that I say, and you describe it best as saying it's like staying in a boutique hotel, only you have your own executive chef and a sommelier that's available 24/7. Because Guy and I stay in the villa, so we're always around. But we also make sure that there's the villa has private spaces. So for example, we have a criteria for all the villas as to what Guy was talking about vetting. It's very important that every single room has its own Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and private ensuite washrooms. So you have your separate, and those rooms often have balconies or quite large in space. So the combination of having this luxurious villa and all the amenities around it to enjoy as a group or as an individual, and then we go on excursions that are outside of the villa that are close by, depending upon where we are located, and we get the vibrancy of a city center. So the idea being is that you get to experience city life, and you also get to experience the rural life. And what our experience has been, because now we've done a bunch of these, is that everybody wants to sort of end the day by coming back to the villa, chilling out for a bit, and then having a really amazing dinner and wine and in a very relaxed and calm atmosphere. One of the questions that we get asked a lot about our villa experiences are, well, what if I'm not into alcohol, or what if I'm not a foodie? Well, there's so much to do, and there's so much to experience that's beyond that it's not a problem. Many of the people that have come on are not into wine. In fact, some don't even drink alcohol at all, and other ones don't want to cook, and they don't have to be involved. But for those that want it, it's there as well. Guy does these amazing cooking classes. That for people, we did gnocchi, we made pizza, so fun and so interactive. And we're having glasses of wine, we're having mocktails, cocktails, and everyone's just socializing, and it's a great way. And you're around like-minded individuals, especially with a group from MOA. They're all very like-minded individuals, and there was a real strong connectivity. The other thing that's very important want to mention in all these is that these are small groups. Maximum are 18. We generally hit around 16 to 18 people. So we're not talking about large groups of people. We're talking about small, intimate groups of people. We have our own private drivers. In fact, Guy and I drive as well as drivers. So we have more than one vehicle. In case, for example, somebody wants to do last trip, somebody wanted to go to Siena. That really wasn't on our agenda, but we reworked around, and we took a group to Siena that wanted to go, and they had a fabulous
Same thing with pizza.
Same thing in Pisa. We did the same thing. So,
or more importantly, like on our last trip, when somebody had regretfully did not buy the dress that she saw the day before.
Right.
So Michael and I drove her back the very next day so she could go back and get her dress because she didn't want to buy it. She was unsure, but she made her mind up overnight. So there's always a vehicle on hand for these kind of requests. Who wanted to go to Mass was another one as well,
Right.
where we drove a couple to Mass because they wanted to go uh, and, um, and have Mass one day. And we found this beautiful little tiny church in the small town. Um, so it really is a 1-2 punch with these kind of trips, because the reality is the day trips are usually kind of vibrant city life. There's a lot of action going on. There's a, or even when we go into do the tours with the farms, whether we're going to a vineyard or an olive farm, or we're going to, a grape farm or anything like that, or a cheese farm or something. Usually it's a bit more action packed during the days, and you're sort of experiencing. We go into the city and we have lunch there and get to know, do some shopping at that point. If there are any sort of sites that you want to see that this particular city is really famous for, we're happy to take you there. We take you there as well. If you want to drift off and do your own exploration and walk around these towns, do your own shopping, we always have a meeting point and a time point and say, hey, meet us back here at 4 o'clock or X or whatever, so you can do whatever it is. If you want to hang out with Michael and I, that's really cool too, because we'll take you and say, hey, this is where you need to go buy shoes. This is where you need to go buy, a jacket. This is where you need to go buy X, Y, Z. Of course, Italy is just perfect for all these things for clothing, because it's the cool thing about where we will take you is that we will take you to places where things are still made by hand. So if you're buying a pair of shoes, the person who you're buying it from was the person who actually made the shoes. We're not going to take you to a Gucci store or a Prada store or a manufactured store. These are all independent. Again, sticking to our mantra of this business, to live local. That also means that we support local. So all the shopping that we do will be local. All the cooking that we do will be from local farms, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean, it's different. It's a different experience.
It's a lot of fun, and it's like I said, the agenda is it's not as formal. I think is what everyone seems to really like about it. What I find is everyone said, what people tell me all the time is it's relaxing, and they got a great night's sleep. The air is so fresh, and it's invigorating, and whatnot. So it's one of those things where it's not just cut and paste. It's we work it to make sure that you have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about when you have these kind of day trips, to come back to what feels the closest thing to home, as opposed to going to a restaurant every single night as opposed to staying in a hotel. You now are in a villa, which is very much like a home setting. Somebody's making you a traditional home cooked meal that if you want to engage in and be a part of, you can be. If you don't want to and you just want to wait till it's ready and eat the food, you can do that too. Michael's pouring you wine or making you whatever mocktail you may want to have or something like that. Again, using local wine as well, or local ingredients to make the drinks. And I'm doing the food and whatever. The kitchens are always open, and we're always there and engaging and whatnot. You come to this sort of very super chilled type of atmosphere that's very relaxing, and like the closest thing to being home that you could possibly get. But this is an Italian home, and you would experience very much what Michael and I experienced as kids, that when we would get together with our family and our relatives, we would prepare a million different things and then sit at a table and chat, and just blow the night away. And then the next morning we get up and we do it all over again. And
a different place.
Only a different place.
Yeah. And so just and part of that experience, what we thought was that we would make these trips all inclusive. And what exactly does all inclusive mean? It means all your food and beverages are included in the price, unless you decide to venture out on your own. Some people want to. For example, we were in Florence, and some people wanted to go for lunch on their own, and so they obviously that would not be covered. But otherwise, all the food and beverages and everything is available 24/7, and it's plentiful. And it's all of a high quality, because that's basically we spent our entire lives as sommeliers, as chefs in the high fine dining restaurants. So everything is a super high quality. Your transfers, we get you from the airport right to the villa, so you don't have to worry about that. In this price includes all of your excursions. So no matter where we're going, we're using all private transportation. We have 2 vans for 8 people. Then we have 2 other vehicles that Guy and I have as well. So everything is private. And why that's important is that we found that depending on the day, depending sometimes people were tired or whatnot, we're not stuck to a specific agenda. So, it's not like the bus drops you off at 9 and says they're going to pick you up by 5. If by 3 o'clock, some people want to go home because they've had enough for the day, well, then we take them home and stuff. So it makes it, again, very much more personalized. And we can do all of that because of the size of the group and obviously because we're familiar with the areas and what we're doing and where we're going.
And we're never really, the other thing too, is that we're never really traveling too far for the day trips when we're away. It's not like you're in a car or a van for like 3 hours each way, that kind of thing. That's again the beauty of being in Italy in general. It doesn't matter where you are, you're always close. Even if you're in a villa somewhere in the countryside, there is always there's always a bunch of quaint little cities nearby that are like 5 kilometers.
Which are obviously many times more
you
fun
can walk to on your own if you want to. There's always that. But there's always big enough cities like Florence or Siena or something, or Lucca, or some of these beautifully romantic cities that are only 45 minutes away. So it's not like we're taking you on this massive trip that you're exhausted from the ride alone. We get there pretty quickly and we can get home back to the villa pretty quickly. So
and the views aren't so bad along the way.
And the views are actually really incredible along the way.
We often stop just because we see something.
Well, yes, we do stop. So and we even on one trip we even stopped because there was one lady that didn't believe me that those were fig trees. So I literally pulled over, took the first exit, and we went picking for figs right off the side of the highway. So yeah, there's all kinds of little fun stops like that along the way.
Again, getting back to all inclusive, of course, we understand that people have dietary restrictions, but over and above that, people have personal preferences. They may not be a dietary restriction. Well, we accommodate those. I mean, the beauty of having a chef there that we make everything from scratch, it's not difficult. We've done it a million times. We used to do it in the restaurant all the time for a lot of people, and we do them on these trips all the time. And I can tell you, everyone is always over the top with all the food.
And you know what? You might surprise yourself because even on the last trip, there were a lot of people that I don't eat eggplant. I don't eat this. I don't eat seafood. And the next thing you know, they're like, I'm converted. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Because you know what? And it's not, even though I am a great chef, it's not my cooking that does that. It's the Italian food that does that. That's the other thing about this trip that is really special is you'll really know what Italian food really tastes like. Sometimes restaurants, because of the nature of what they do and the amount of volume they have to produce in one course of an evening, is that they don't truly capture the freshness of the ingredients. Well, basically everything we do when we go on our day trips, I usually venture off and do a lot of shopping, to which anyone who's welcome to come with me and learn a thing or two about shopping in markets and what to look for, they're more than welcome to come with me. Last time we were in Florence, we went to the central market there, and I think there was about 12 of the guests that followed me around, just buying all the seafood and buying the meats and everything, which was really cool. And so I did a quick sort of 101 version on what to look for and everything else. So, the freshness of all the ingredients in the food that you're going to be eating is something I guarantee unlike anything else that you had before, because the produce and everything in Italy is just blessed. It just tastes better anywhere else than anywhere else in the world. And I'm not just saying that because I am Italian. I'm telling you that as a professional chef. So you'll be able to really taste a lot of that amazing stuff. But getting back to what Michael was saying, I mean, the thing is that we'd like to take credit for honoring people who have dislikes or allergies or whatever, but in reality, the Italian culture does that anyways. On any given dinner, there is something on the table for everybody, regardless. That's what makes their diet so special. They don't really, as North Americans, we tend to focus on taking one thing and blowing it up. Like if we're having pasta, it's a course, it's not a meal. And so there's always tons of meat, fish, and vegetables on the table at any given meal at any given time. So I wouldn't have any concerns whatsoever. If you eat everything, then bonus, you'll try it. But if you do have specific likes, dislikes, or allergies, I wouldn't sweat it because we can accommodate it because we are in the greatest country in the world when it comes to ingredients.
Yeah. So we also do food and wine classes on the villa that are fun and interactive. We've had really amazing response on those. They're not formal. They're completely the opposite. They're just fun. Participation is obviously is optional. We have usually about, I'd say 75% of the people participate, and the other 25% are hanging out with me while we're talking about wine.
I'm still getting videos from people who now have learned what they experienced on our trips, and they're now sending me videos of them making pasta at home, making pizza at home. And these are people who swore that they would never try this again at home or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm getting videos because they were so inspired.
Yeah, people are really, I mean, you know, we've had groups before that have booked 4 different villas with trips in 1 year. We have a 75% return rate of people that come on our trips after 1 year. So people are obviously enjoying it, something special, and it's again very exclusive. But I think the best way to really go around it is to give you an idea of a trip, what it kind of looks like. And we thought we'd use the Amalfi trip as a sort of a good example that we'll go into a little bit more detail. So we're going to Amalfi from May 10th to 17th. It sold out basically before we even launched it from people that were just on our previous trips, and sort of because we maintain contact with many of the people that have been on this trip on a regular basis by text or email or phone. And so that sold out really quickly. So we've just added a new trip from May 17th to May 17th to the 24th for another week. And here is a picture of the villa that that we're staying at. And as you can see, this is the villa that's ours privately. So you get a sense of well, I mean, the view is, look at the view, like, you know, the Bay of Naples overlooking Capri. You've got a tennis court, you've got swimming pools, you've got gardens, you've got the entire villa, which is massive. You've got a rooftop deck. I mean, it's just simply stunning, like just simply stunning.
Lemon trees, olive trees.
You know, here's the pool that a lot of people just relax by, pick up, read a book, you know, whatever it is. I mean, you know, whatever you feel like doing, having a cocktail by there, or simply just having an afternoon nap. There's nothing wrong with napping. That's what I always say. Here, for example, you'll be sitting outside, and this is the actual villa we're staying at.
That's Mount Vesuvio
in the background, and having cocktails and sitting by and just relaxing. It's so special in so many ways, and this is where we'll be having dinner. And on when we decide that we want to dine outside, and again, beautiful.
All ours, though. Remember, it's just us,
and no one else. Just us that is there. More examples of gardens. There's a hammock that Guy was referring to for anybody that wants to lounge in the hammock. Again, you want to just sit on a bench. You want to go for a walk with your significant other or your friend. You go on a mini little hike, and there you go. You can sit and you can just watch the bay. It's just simply, you know, where do you see that? I mean, it's simply beautiful. I mean, and then you get to your room. The rooms are quite spacious. This particular one has an outdoor balcony. Like I say, they're quite large. They're queen or king size beds. They're all air conditioned inside. So again, privacy, more space than you'd get in most hotels, quite frankly.
Much larger.
And much larger. The bathrooms are beautiful. Here's the bathroom. It's in classic Italian style. It's all marble. And it just is, you know, again, beautiful, all in your own room, just for your own private use.
There is maid service as well.
That's right. There's maid service and Wi-Fi. That are complemented. Here's another overview of the villa. Excuse me. Another overview of the villa. You can see the tennis courts over on the right-hand side that are available to use whenever you want. Again, like I said, it's completely exclusive.
So you can even play pickleball on there too.
Yeah, right. And so this is the landing base. From here is where all the activity starts to happen. So generally, we would get up in the morning, have a nice Italian breakfast. Some of us would go for a hike. We even have, excuse me, a nutritionalist and a personal trainer who is available to take people on hikes if they like, and all at your own caliber. We recognize some people want to walk fast. Some people want to go slow. Some people want to run. Some people don't want to run. So we can arrange it so that, you know, whatever physical
Or you
activity.
could just come with me by the pool and have an espresso, because
Exactly.
that's typically what I do. I don't really go anywhere.
Then we have breakfast, which is basically like a buffet style, Italian style breakfast. So it's very leisure, whatnot. And then we'd be going on a day trip. And on the first day trip of this trip, we're going to the island of Capri. I don't know if you've ever been to the island of Capri, but Capri is just one of the most beautiful islands in all of Europe. In all of Europe, I mean, it's known for obviously having, you know, all the celebrities that go there. The water is crystal blue. You land on the bottom, then you take a private taxi to the very top, where you can have lunch, have a gelato. The views are absolutely spectacular. If you want to do shopping, there are the name brand shopping places there. They're not cheap, but they are there for those people that are looking for the labels and whatnot. The ferry ride is fun. It's just a great way to spend a day. There's also another island that is not as well known on the island of Isha, which is just very close to where the villa is. That if everyone really enjoys their time at Capri, we could look at going there.
And it's a bit more exclusive and less tourist. The other thing to note about Capri too, if you may have been there, if the group that decides to come on this trip, if they have been familiar with Capri, I know for a fact you've only seen the one side of Capri. A lot of tourists tend to not go to the other side of the mountain in Capri, where a lot of the locals live, and that side is equally cool, equally cultural. If that's the case, and we get people who want to go to that side of the island, I will take you to the sort of local side of Capri that I guarantee most North Americans have not seen. It's a lot more chilled, a lot less tourists, a lot more independent purveyors there that are selling all kinds of different goods, from clothing to food and everything else. More kind of ma and pa type lunch spots, that kind of thing. Totally cool to take you there. If you're really up for it, you know, we can also go to Ischia as well, and that's got more of a sort of chilled vibe to it as well. So yeah, we can land there and then figure out exactly how we want to tackle the island.
Well, so then we would go home after Capri. We'd have some cocktails, relax by the pool, and then eventually, you know, have dinner and just roll with the evening. And if we wanted to, we'd go for a stroll to get gelato into the local town, which is not far. Then we have day trips to Sorrento and Positano, two amazing places to go. Again, I mean, you can see the coastal line is simply stunning. The seafood here is absolutely amazing. And as is the local shopping, the local markets. We'll hit all of those. We'll hit them all at your pace. We'll try to stay away as much as we can from the tourist traps for attractions. But we do need to venture in a little bit into town to see a little bit of that if we want to get a sense of the actual coast, because obviously that's where everyone goes. But both those day trips are fun, and they're memorable. And again, once we finish those, we leave when we want to leave. We drive back to the villa. We go back to the villa, and we repeat again. We chill and we have a nice dinner.
Yeah, there's no like our ticket says we have to leave at 4 o'clock. It's sort of we leave when we want to leave. So
Exactly.
whether that's later or earlier, we leave when we want to. Our vehicles are at our disposal this entire trip.
Right. Then this day is a really interesting day, is because we're going to Pasta di Grano. It's a city or town, I should say, that is world renowned for their pasta, where we'll do a tour of the manufacturing facility and a tasting. And Guy, what's so special about the pasta?
Well, the cool thing about this pasta, and again, a lot of it doesn't come to North America because Italians are kind of stickler about their products. I mean, they're smart in a certain way. I guess I would probably do the same. Is that a lot of the really good stuff they don't export out to other countries. So what's specific about the wheat that's grown in this area, which is why this is sort of like the pasta kingdom of all of Italy, is that the wheat has a much higher level of protein than pasta that we're used to. So two things to that. Really, A, it's healthier, right? More protein. And B, you get more of what the Italians call al dente, which dente just means teeth in Italian. So there's always a bit more of a chew to the pasta. It's got a bit more bite. That's where the dente comes in. And this particular manufacturer is really cool because they still do and make, well, first of all, they make over 600 different types of varieties of pasta. This is to be a really good time for you to stock up and even get some and bring back home with you. Because it's a great story to tell as well. Because you will notice the difference once you eat it. Because we will buy some when we're there, and I will cook with it that night. We'll bring it back to the villa. I guarantee it. And but they still have a part of their manufacturing where they have good old-fashioned human hands making the pasta. It's not. Don't picture this as being walking into a factory. When the Italians say that something is a factory, the American connotation is a bunch of robots and a bunch of machines doing all the work. In Italy, it's not so much the translation gets lost a bit, and it also is something along the lines of, you know, it's still very handmade and very artisanal. So it's really cool to see it being made.
Yeah. And then we're going to go visit a limoncello farm in Olive Grove. Of course, all the limoncello that's made in Italy generally comes from this region. These are where the lemons are the best. They have no seeds. The pulp is amazing. They're so sweet. You can eat it really, like literally on its own, like an orange practically. And that's really interesting. And we would have lunch on this beautiful farm. Again, contrasting city life with farm life, rural, and getting back out into nature, whatnot. And so it's a really nice cross sort of, you know, a change of pace that adds a nice variety. And again, these are all very relaxing.
And the farms that we choose to go to are usually sort of indie farms that, you know, are still sort of family owned. They're not necessarily on the radar or on the big tours that you would find if you went online and stuff like that. They're more indie type. That this is again with our team that's in Italy, or Michael and I, that we have found these places. So all these places have been vetted by us. We don't just sit there and lump you into there is a ton of sort of mass-produced limoncello olive vineyards all over Italy that a ton of tourists get to go to. We kind of stay away from the big mass producers, and we usually find these small indie ones, mostly because we want to support them because they're small and independent and they're local, getting back to our mantra. But more importantly, too, is that most of the people that own these places are real characters. They have lots of stories, and it makes the visit that much more fun.
Yeah. And the fact that we're small groups allows us to do this.
Yeah.
So we're not huge. We're doing a day trip to Naples. Again, you know, nothing is complete. We will definitely have pizza in Naples because they're known for their pizza worldwide. There's also the markets in Naples are just, you know, phenomenal. There's so many different sites to see. Again, a fantastic day, a fantastic way to spend the day. You can see the Mount Brusio in the background, and the Bay of Naples, which is quite a large city.
In my opinion, one of the most exciting cities in all of Italy that gets overlooked by a lot of tourists. Naples is by far, in my opinion, the coolest city in all of Italy. So this is something, especially the side of Naples, we are going to take you to.
And there we are. There we come back to the villa and look at this. We'd be sitting outside, relaxing and enjoying, a lovely evening, the summer sunset. You can just see it with the mountains, and the air is so fresh, so clean, and it just really is invigorating. And I can't tell you how many people told me they were so relaxed, or they constantly tell me that they're so relaxed when they come there and really just enjoy the country.
You talk about the day and what went down and what you saw, and everybody's exchanging photos and whatever, telling stories. It's really cool. Like it's a really bonding experience, and you get to know one another. It's fun.
Yeah, low key. And then, so that was one in detail. Basically, all the villa experiences are very similar to the one we just showed you in Amalfi. Just to give you, that they're all basically, they vary just because the region varies. And so obviously the activities and the highlights that we want to take you to are different, but in essence, the format is the same. If you are interested in the Amalfi trip, I suggest that you contact John or Mike relatively soon, because it is filling up quickly, and it is coming up quickly. Another trip we wanted to show to you quickly, because we're going time. We want to be done in the next 5 to 7 minutes. Is Sicily, which is July 12th to the 19th. Again, that is a perfect time to go to Sicily. Sicily is really unique to the rest of Italy. The rest of Italy, Sicily is on an island. For those that you don't know that, The rest of Italy are about 20 different regions, and they have their own distinct little differences between them. But Sicilians refer to themselves as Sicilians and not as Italians. And by and large, it's because over centuries they have had Roman, Greek, Spanish, French influences. So they're very unique in terms of what they have gone through. And obviously, each one of those cultures or areas of the world have left a footprint until the Romans finally did take it over and left their footprint. It's a beautiful country. The countryside is stunning. The beaches are stunning. The villa here is beautiful. As you can see, it's a little bit more
guaranteed amazing weather.
Always.
Amazing.
You know, it's a little bit more rustic than the Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi is a little more glam, but the rustic part of it is beautiful in a lot of ways because in its own character. You've got, you know, this villa again, beautiful inside, super comfortable. The outside, there's beautiful outside areas. There's even, you know, the pool, of course, with the beautiful rocks, and hundreds of years old. You've got, you know, even TV running, showing movies, and so there's endless things to do here. We'll be doing a day trip to Ragusa. Ragusa, I don't know if people are into the beach. Sometimes people want to go or not, but it's absolutely beautiful beaches. Some of the best beaches I've ever been to in the world. But if you're not into the beaches, you get to on the other side. The right-hand side photo shows you the marketplace, the vibrancy.
The town is amazing.
The town is
There's so much to do in an afternoon there, even if you're not into the beach. So
plenty.
Anything you want is there.
Then we'll also do a day trip to Syracuse, which again is known for the fabulous seafood. As you can see in the left, it's a beautiful city that's not too big, not super well known. Again, same with Ragusa. Most people tend to go to Palermo, the more Tamarina. So they tend to go to the most Tamarina. So those places, these places are not as busy with tourists, which is why we tend to go there. We also have done something really interesting, and this we won't dwell on it because because not everyone here is in this category. But we've had a lot of people ask about singles trips, and for whatever reason, we find ourselves single in life, however that may have come about. A lot of people don't feel like they're the third cog, I guess, if no better way to put it, than going on some of these trips. Although that's not really the case because we had many single people come. But we decided anyways to dedicate a trip significantly for singles only. So we're doing the trip June 21st to the 28th. Let the Italian culture be your significant other. We'll be doing day trips to Florence, Siena, Lucca. Again, we'll be having a personal trainer with us, as well as nutritionists who will lead different hikes and stretching and yoga, whatever.
Talk about the Italian diet and everything else.
Truffle hunting, which is a lot of fun with the dogs. We'll hunt for truffles. Again, every individual will have their own private bedroom with on.
Yeah, all the other stuff we talked about stays the same. No matter where we go, everything stays the same in terms of your accommodations, blah blah blah. Drop dead gorgeous villas, privacy, etc., etc. Maid service, you name it, all that stuff. Nothing changes.
And then in September 21st to 28th, we are going to Provence. And while it's in France, it's really no different. It's the Mediterranean experience with a French flair to it. Again, we are very familiar with all that. We've done our recog on all this, and this will be another spectacular trip with day trips to Toulon, en Provence, Marseille, cooking classes. Again, the same format. We're staying in a luxury villa exclusive to our group with a private bedroom.
But we won't be cooking Italian.
But we won't be cooking Italian.
I'll be cooking local French food from Provençal and very authentic recipes from there. Shopping in their markets, drinking their wine, eating their food.
And there's a slide note. Here we go. Got it. Great. Okay. So here are some of the testimonials from other MOA members. We thought we'd just put these up. These are ones that were sent to us during and after the trip. Great times, great vacations. Thanks so much, Micheal and Guy. Fabulous. Liz and Steve have booked a number of vacations with us coming up. They're actually going on the Amalfi Coast with us, and they're going to a Greece one, and I think they're going on the Provence one. Micheal and Guy, thank you very much for the villa experience. It was exactly what we were looking for. Relaxing and fun. Great dinners, wine, and conversation. best wishes for your success, Tom and Mary Jo. Really enjoyed our Tuscan experience. Hope to see you again. All the best. Kathleen and Jacqueline, again, they were singles. Well, Jacqueline wasn't single, but she came with her sister, which was great. Bill and I had such a great time with you guys in Tuscany. We'd love to meet you and Guy on the Amalfi Coast. Candace and Janet. Janet actually is the person that came on the Tuscan trip and is now coming with us on the Amalfi Coast. We had this little video here. It's kind of cute. It was from a couple that were kind of skeptical to come on. They didn't know what to expect. They were very, very much foodies. I'll just play it.
Michael, I don't think we can hear it on our end.
Oh, can't you hear it? Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Thanks, Chuck. All right, then yeah. So that pretty much really, sums up the the thing. We can open it up for questions and answering.
Yeah. So a couple of things before we get into that. By the way, if you
Sure.
send me that video, I can include it in the email we send out to everybody with the link to either rewatch or share this webinar. We are going to include that other video as well, although I'm going to show it in just a second. One thing I did want to mention, is the opportunity when we're talking about these groups, and I know I mentioned it in my column in the newsletter, and I think it might have been the QA, is we can do these groups as small as, say, 10 people, that kind of 10 to 18 range. So if you have either, it's great for a multi-generational or a family trip or friends. In fact, my older brother Jerry is looking to work with Guy and Michael to put together a trip for them and like 7 or 8 other couples. So if you look at this and say this looks amazing, and it is amazing, you saw some of the feedback. We did the one trip with them, and the feedback was so unbelievably over the top positive. There's a reason that we've looked to do more of these, because it's such a unique opportunity. So if you look at this and say, well, this date might not work for me, or there's a destination I want to go to, or if you look at it and say, there's only 6 spots left on this tour and I'd really like to do it, but either fellow MOA members or just friends and family or whatever, absolutely reach out to us. The person you'd reach out to is Mike, not me. I'm not a travel agent. I'm more than happy to talk to you, but I'm not going to be the one to help you plan any future vacation. So if you look at this and you say, I'd like to get my own group together, give Mike a call, and then Mike will, circle in Michael. And when I say Mike, I mean Mike Tyrell, who works here at MOA Vacations, will circle in Michael and Guy to see if we can't put something together for you as well. So real quick, I am going to see, before we get into the Q&A, or if you guys can see the questions, if you want to start answering them, I'm going to see if I can't show this video real quick, because we went to the effort to put it together. Host. Okay, can you guys see that? Michael, can you guys see it?
I'm having trouble on my end here. The screen has gotten. I can't hear it. That's for sure.
I haven't hit play yet.
Oh, I'm having problems, John. I'm sure. Just hit play. Let's
Just hit play, let it run.
If not, we'll send it.
All righty. Let's get into the questions, eh?
I'm not seeing a bunch of. Do you have any on your end? I don't really see any questions here. Do you have any questions, John, or is it just not showing up more?
There was one question. Somebody said, what airport?
Yeah. Naples is the best.
Okay.
But Rome's not far either. So I mean, you can even take we get Rome is fine too, but yeah, Naples would be the easiest.
Naples would be the closest, but Rome is fine.
Okay. All righty. I heard that I got a couple of texts saying that the video I just showed was a little choppy. We will, as I said, what we'll do is as we always do, we need to take this video, we need to edit it, we'll download it, edit it, and then we'll upload it to YouTube, which takes a little while, but you will get an email either night or tomorrow morning. I actually am catching a flight tonight to go to Reno for regional MOA meetings. But if you don't get it tonight, tomorrow morning, you'll get it, and we'll include both those videos in it. Okay, so we're getting questions coming in now. Is crime a problem still in Nopali?
No. In fact, the complete opposite. The complete opposite. I mean, we've been there many times. Naples at one time ago, maybe 10 years ago, was known for its crime. It's a complete flip. In fact, my cousin just told me, who lives in North America, who is Italian, said that if he had to move to any city in Naples, he would go there because it's such a beautiful. We were walking when I went there with my kids. We were walking around till 1 o'clock in the morning, and never ever did I feel not safe.
Yeah, I'll just say in addition to that, we've had questions like this before because we've been working with MOA since 1998. The safety of MOA members is our number one priority. So anytime we do a trip, that is one of the first things that we take into consideration. We've had trips before that we've canceled if we thought that things had changed. So yeah, I mean, I think you can be rest assured that if MOA is sponsoring a trip, if it's a MOA group departure, that your safety is our primary concern. Somebody said, is there any plans to do a hosted villa in conjunction with the Greek Isle cruises? So if I understand correctly, we had one, we sent information out to everybody. What he's asking about is in August of next year, we have a MOA signature group, which is a 7-night Greek Isles cruise departing from Athens. There are still, I think, 10 or 11 staterooms left on that cruise. And we did put together a hosted villa prior to that cruise. And am I correct, Micheal and Guy, that that's sold out, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's sold out really quickly.
Yeah. And that's like 16 or 18 people, right?
That's right.
Yep. So Bob, the only thing I would say is I don't know who your agent is that you booked that cruise through. But I would, if you wanted more information on it, it is on the website, I think, right? Isn't it still on the website, even though it's sold out or has been taken down?
No, I'm still on our website. It's there. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go to the website, which we'll include a link to again in the email we're going to send tonight to see more information about it. If you decide you wanted to go, reach out to your agent and ask them to put you on the wait list. We do have people that cancel typically around the time that final payment is due. I think final payment is due probably in February or March for that Greek Isles cruise. So yeah, we can certainly put you on a wait list on that, but there's really no way to do another one before. Is there been any talk if we have interest of offering a hosted villa vacation after that Greek Isles cruise? Because I mean, I do know we have 30 or 40 people that are doing back to back. So at the end of that 7-night round trip Athens cruise, people are going to continue on the 9-night Athens to Dubrovnik cruise. But if we had enough interest, would we be able to do a villa post, or is that something you want to talk to Mike about and can kind of see what we can do? Has that been discussed at all?
No, we never discussed it, but if I'm looking at our calendars, we could do one if there's interest.
Okay.
We could do one, a post.
Then what we might do on our end is I'll get with Mike and we can reach out to the people that aren't doing the back-to-back, Bob, and see if there's enough interest. Obviously, the great thing about these villa vacations is it's not like we need, 50, 100 people to go. When we do these signature groups, for example, the signature group on Greek Isles, there's 92 staterooms. So we're talking about it, not accounting for singles, but 180 people that are going to be on that. On this, we could get 12, 14 people who wanted to do it and put another one together. So if you could, Bob, just send an email to your agent. If it's not Mike, or just reach out to Mike and let us know, and we'll see if we can't put something together. It is almost 3. We try to keep these to an hour as much as we can. It doesn't look. Oh wait, are visas necessary to enter Italy? I didn't notice 2 more. You have the ITIS, if that's how it's pronounced, that is now going to be required in 2025 to go to Europe. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that. It's like an online thing.
Very easy.
Pardon me?
It's very easy to do.
Yeah, it's really easy. I think the recommendation they have is do it at least like 4 days prior to you depart. I would recommend doing it further out than that if you go to the website, but we'll send that to everybody. It's a very minimal fee too, isn't it? Isn't like,
yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
$20 range, if not less than that. And it's more than a nuisance, but I figure, they look at it, and if they can get 15, $20 from every person that goes to Europe, that's going to end up being a lot of money. I think it's good for 2 years, right?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So a very simple thing. But so, yeah, so if you're planning, if you're going to Europe once, you go to the website, it's etias.eu, if I remember correctly. But I'll include that in the email as well. And you just go in and then you just purchase it. And like a lot of those visas, it's good for a couple of years. So if once you have that once, it's good for all your future trips. Are there cats you're allergic? Are there cats?
Okay, well, Janet, I am deathly allergic to cats, so you and I can hang out. There are no cats. No, no. The only cats you're gonna encounter are like maybe the farm cats that are running around, and if we go to a cheese farm or an olive farm or a thing like, but not at the villa or anywhere remotely near your room or anywhere where we're gonna be.
I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah, you're pretty safe.
No different than you being at home.
Yeah, no different than wherever you're calling in from. So yeah, then so I'm deathly allergic, so I'll make sure there are 0 cats.
So you and Guy can hang out in that van, the no cat van.
You got it.
No cat. Me seeing Guy's a chef, got to make sure he's okay. So that's important.
That's right. Yeah. Without me, you're going to starve on this trip.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just got to say, I mean, and I'm just, before we could close, I'm just going to say, I mean, one of the great things, and I got to commend Michael and Guy, is the feedback we heard is just how amenable they were to whatever, they gave a couple examples of how amenable they were to do whatever the group wanted to do. One of the things that we did that we'll do in the future is we actually had a meeting. So this is the way, if you're familiar with Zoom, the way it works, this is a Zoom. So it's more of us presenting to you. But what we did with the group and what we'll do in the future is actually have a meeting. And if you've done Zoom meetings, that's where everybody is able to talk and everybody's kind of on screen. And so a month or so prior to going to the villa, we'll do a meeting. Everybody who's part of that group will be together, and it's like a group discussion of what people want to do. And it truly is, if you've never done anything like this, everything we heard from somebody, it's such an experiential type of travel where you basically just, I mean, one quick story. I heard one night they had plans to go out to dinner and they had a day and everybody got back. And instead of going to dinner, the group said, we'd rather hang out at the villa than go to a restaurant and have dinner. And it's that kind of flexibility that, you know, an hour or two before you're going to get in the van and leave for dinner, everybody's like, let's just hang out here. And they do have 2 vans. So you basically can have kind of, you know, this group goes here, this group goes here. And of course, you can always have the option if you want to just hang out, you know, in the morning or the afternoon at this phenomenal villa at the pool or whatever. So you just have this option. It's such a customizable vacation, not only when we're putting it together, not only in that meeting that we'll have a month or so before you go, where everybody in the group kind of meets each other online and we talk about what the group wants to do, but then when you're at the villa as well. We couldn't recommend it higher. We're very excited to partner with Guy and Micheal. Great success already. We look forward to a lot of future trips that are just going to be phenomenal. And what is the cost of such trips? I'm not really sure what you're asking, Janet. The cost there, I'll answer this real quick. All the trips have different costs. And that's on the website. So when we send this video, I'll include a link to the website where you can actually kind of read about each trip we kind of went through and what the costs are for each of those trips, be it the trips we talked about, which are designed for both singles and doubles, or the trip we have that's exclusively designed for solo travelers. So anyway, Guy and Micheal, I want to thank you for partnering with MOA Vacations on these. We're very excited to do more in the future. And I'm going to turn it over to both of you guys for the final word.
Listen, John, thanks. These are a lot of fun. We encourage anyone that is interested in going on an innovative, immersive holiday that would be unlike anything they've done before. This would be the place to go. If you do go, when John does send that link, when you go to the website, you have the ability to book a private call with Guy or I, if you'd like. If you have more questions, have any more specific questions, or you just want to chat about it a bit more, feel free to do that as well.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everyone. Be on the lookout for the email, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great one, everybody.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Thanks, John. Ciao.